Hello to our freaky family. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Kandi.
And this is Sips of Crime. Welcome back, everybody, to Sips of Crime, your favorite true crime podcast.
Hey, everybody.
Hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you guys are excited for all of the upcoming Halloween festivities. So we've got a lot of fun things. We've also got something new to try for you guys. So we're not doing like an actual wine. We're doing a wine cocktail.
Yes, it's in the wine section.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get that open before we get started. What do we have, Kandi?
We have a Rancho La Gloria
Ooh.
ready to drink espresso martini. It is a wine cocktail. It's made with real espresso. This is up Michelle's alley. I cannot drink too much of this or I will have a panic attack, but I still love coffee. And I like
She
to text
texts me.
Michelle.
Yeah, she texts me all the time.
And so when I have to go into office, I'm right near Starbucks. If I'm not stopping at Starbucks on my way, 9 times out of 10, I'm walking to Starbucks, which is a really bad habit.
And I make coffee literally every single day. Like I make it fresh.
Yeah.
It's the first thing I do when I wake up.
Well, the other day I had brought coffee from home, and one of my coworkers was like, "Hey, let's walk to Starbucks." I'm like, "Okay." Like,
Not gonna turn that down.
right, you don't have to twist my arm. So then I come back and I have my hot coffee and then I have a cold coffee and I set them beside each other and I'm, drinking both of them simultaneously. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing to myself? And so then I text Michelle a picture and I'm like, do I learn my lesson on my caffeine intake? No. Am I going to stop? No.
Yeah, so she normally drinks decaf.
Or half calf.
Or half calf, and it's because like too much caffeine gives her like anxiety. Like she gets like panicky and she gets kind of shaky and it just doesn't go over well with her. Coffee does not affect me that way, so like I drink so much of it like during the day in the morning.
I love the taste of it.
Yeah.
It's just.
And so she always texts me when she's being bad, like when she's making bad decisions around her caffeine intake.
Which is at least once or twice a week. Although I did not have any coffee this morning. So maybe that's probably why I picked this up.
There you go. There you go.
I did. So, you can do it shaken or stirred. It's a delicious espresso martini made with real espresso, sweetened with agave nectar and hints of vanilla, chocolate, and caramel for the perfect happy hour cocktail you've been looking for. You can do it straight, you can do it blended, you can do it on the rocks, or you can do it as a shot.
Ooh, a shot of a wine cocktail?
That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is 15% alcohol by volume.
This will be a fun episode.
Well, our previous episode was on 13.5.
I didn't drink a whole glass of that though. It's a little early too. We're recording a little early.
We are because we got to get caught up.
Yeah.
From our break.
From our break.
But
okay. So while you're opening that up, I am pretty sure that we.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, that smells so good.
Smells like coffee.
I am pretty sure that we had another wine from that company.
I think
we did not like very much.
Oh god.
Yeah. I'm looking back.
Okay. It looks like black coffee.
It looks like straight black coffee.
So we might have to throw in some creamer here.
I have some caramel macchiato 0 sugar creamer upstairs if you want to grab it.
Let me run and grab it real
just
quick.
in case.
Please.
Okay, we're gonna try it straight first, and then if we need like some creamer afterwards, we'll cheers.
It tastes like alcohol.
Oh, it's a little strong.
Okay.
It is 15%.
I know, but I'm gonna put a little creamer in there.
Yes, I have pumpkin.
Oh, maybe not.
Oh, it's gonna curdle because it's alcohol.
Let me go pour that out.
Yeah, you don't want that.
No, I don't.
I forgot about the. Yeah, we can't put creamer in it because it's alcohol and it'll curdle. Crap. Okay, don't put creamer in it. It's not bad on its own.
No, it's not. It's just.
But I'm with you though. Like I want more of like a chocolate martini when I ask, because I get like.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, like I want like more of a chocolate martini. I like coffee, but espresso martinis do tend to be a little strong. for me. Like if I were to order it like at a restaurant, like I still want a little bit of like creamer in it. Um, I would recommend this. I like it.
I like it.
It's good. It's good. I'm giving that 5 stars.
So, what do you have for us today?
Yeah, so I've got some fun stuff for you guys. So first, before we've got some crime news. That I've recently come. Have you heard of this new like execution style with this hydrogen, this what is it? Nitrogen hypoxia?
No,
Y-
no, I have not.
Okay, so apparently Alabama is about to be like the first state who is going to execute somebody using this new method. And ultimately what it is you suffocate pretty much. Like you're gonna have a mask on and they are
Okay.
going to you're going to just breathe nitrogen and it's going to deprive your body of oxygen and that is going to be the execution style and then you die from that. They're saying that you will breathe this in for 15 minutes or after 5 minutes of a flat line, whichever comes first.
Okay.
What do we think?
All right. This is my opinion. I am up for the death penalty,
I was just
lethal
about to say maybe,
injection.
yeah, maybe we should talk about where we stand on the death penalty as far as like our personal views, because I'm
Like,
okay with sharing them. I am for the death penalty. I think if
I'm
you are a
fine with it.
disgusting human being and you're going to take a life, then I think that
Right.
I think it's okay for us to kill you.
But
Sounds a little harsh, but the
and
way it
this
happens.
and maybe this is where my biggest fear is not being able to breathe comes into play. You're you're basically going to put this mask on, you're going to breathe in this stuff and basically suffocate. You're not going to be able to breathe, and maybe my irrational fear, it's not really irrational because it could
No,
be,
absolutely, yeah.
my fear comes into play, and so that's playing in on this situation. I get that there are some disgusting people out here that deserve horrible things to happen to them, but as a human, I don't want to inflict something terrible onto someone.
Right,
So
like
just
that's where
like
my conscious comes into it. Yeah.
drawing out the dying, or suffering.
That's what I'm having an issue with is the suffering because like they never said anything about putting this person to sleep.
No,
And
they're
when you get the lethal injection, that is part of it. You go unconscious first.
yeah.
So when you actually die, you are not awake.
And I just
I don't know how I feel about knowing, and that's what I had a problem with the gas chamber as well, like back in the day, like
it feels just a little inhumane.
inhumane, yeah. And I'm not saying that these people deserve humane treatment,
No,
but I just can't like you said, being a human being, not wanting to inflict pain on another human being, I wouldn't want to, like you said, draw that out. Like I would
no,
just
and but
just put them to sleep and then kill them. Like, why do
in a
we have
way,
to?
if I'm the family member of the person, or of someone who was murdered or was,
Yeah, you might feel a little
whatever,
differently.
I could see them feeling a little bit differently and wanting them to experience pain and a suffering. I can also see that. But do we really have to go that
I
way?
was about to say, I just don't know if there's a handful of situations I feel like. I mean, if you've messed with kids,
Then yes.
I want to cut you up limb by
Right.
limb,
I want
little
you to
by
suffer.
little. I
I
want to
want
I
you
want
to
to chop off
suffer.
each one of your toes one by one and I want you to suffer and I want it to be at the hands of me. Like I
Right.
want to do it.
Those are the
But
situations I'm talking about. But if you
I don't know. It's like, but I mean, killing another adult isn't any better. I mean,
no, and
it's hard. It's a hard thing to think about.
it is, like, in a way I'm okay with it, in a way I'm not, depending, because it depends on what you did,
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. Like, there's levels of murder.
which is so terrible.
Isn't that awful? Oh,
But
so controversial. But yeah, like
I feel like there's a level of like, hey, I just shot this person, I killed him. Or,
right, that's one
hey,
thing.
I raped this person and kept them in my basement for 10 days, and then, oh, I did stuff to children. Like,
Yeah,
those people
those people.
deserve deserve the suffering.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's such a weird thing to think about. Like, I don't know. And I don't understand quite like I mean, we've been fairly successful with the lethal injection. Like, why are we coming up with new ways? Like, whose job is that? Whose job is it to be like, oh yeah, we could kill somebody this way?
Who are we experimenting this on?
Yeah, like how do
I
we
mean, I'm
know this
assuming it's
works?
rats and stuff like that, like,
Well, I think it's just science proves it as well. I mean, if you breathe in nitrogen enough,
well, yeah.
then, and eventually your body no longer has the oxygen it takes to live. But I don't know. Like I said, that doesn't sound good. I will say though that after I get finished telling you the story I have for you guys today, you guys might feel a little differently about this gentleman. Yeah. So, um, Candy recently did an episode of how many women was it? Do you remember? Was it 15 women survivors?
Yes, yes.
And it of course made our caseload 10 times bigger. But I've actually been
I'm
wanting
welcome.
I have been wanting to tell this story for a while. Um, but having you, you know, like give us kind of an overview of 15 amazing women who survived um their attackers and survived their attacks. It just made me like it just felt like this was the right time to do
Well,
it.
and you love Survivor Tales.
I love a
So
survivor tale. You guys know, like, I am not the girl who's going to be bringing you guys unsolved mysteries, like stuff like
you
that.
have done that a few times though, and I'm like,
But I love survivor tales. I feel like they are so uplifting. And one of the things that I've been working really, really hard on is not calling these women victims.
yes.
They are survivors, and this is probably just the best one out of.
Oh, I'm so ready.
Yeah, it's so good. So I will go ahead and give you guys a little bit of a trigger warning though. It's a pretty rough case. So I'm it's just hard to hear. But as we know, it has a happy ending. So just like stick with us. Just like stay with us, okay? So I am going to be telling you guys the story, the full story today. Candy touched on it a little bit during her Survivor Tale episode, but I'm going to be telling you guys the full story of Mary Vincent.
Yay! I didn't look into any of the women.
Yes. So grab a glass
Grab a friend.
and let's dive in. Mary was born in 1963 in Las Vegas, and there isn't a lot known about her youth, like all the way down to her birthday. Like, I wasn't even actually able to find her actual birthday. And you guys know that I love to tell you guys, like, their signs and stuff like that. So I can't do that with Mary. But like I said, she was born in 1963, so she is either 59 or 60 at
Okay.
this point. Um, but we do know that she was born from a military family, and it seems like she was kind of at odds with them. Her mother was a blackjack dealer in Las Vegas, and her father was a mechanic serving in the military, and she was one of 7 children. And some people say they were going through a messy divorce, and some people say that she was just visiting, but other people say that she actually ran away from home.
Okay.
But this ultimately brings us to September 29th in 1973. Mary is 15 years old. Okay. I'm just going to stop there because I need you guys to like take that in for just a second. She is 15 years old. What the fuck were you doing at 15? We were like, what, like eyeing boys, writing notes in class. We were like catching rides, like, we were freshmen,
Mm-hmm.
like we were like catching rides from like the cute boys. We
Mm-hmm.
were getting our driver's licenses. We were drinking and like hanging out, like we were just like living it up. Like we were
Telling
stupid and young,
telling my mom I was one place and
lying to our
what? Okay.
parents and like dying in a field somewhere.
Never lied to my mom. I told my mom
No, your
where I
mom, you
was.
didn't have to lie to your mom.
I told my mama where I was. She told my daddy. I was
Yeah, you had to
half
lie
of
to
the
your
story.
dad.
Half the story. But my mom had met all of these older guys that I was hanging out with.
Yeah.
She had met them.
And
They'd
like they
been to
came
my
over and
house.
out. Yeah, like they would come and pick you up and like they would
And
like talk to your mom and stuff.
talked my
Yeah.
dad. Like everything's
Exactly.
fine. And there would be times that I would be at a house that had way older people that I should have been hanging out with.
Yeah.
There
We were
were,
definitely making bad decisions for
oh
sure.
yeah, I mean, but
Even though we were safe, like we
but
were
I
making
will
bad
say,
decisions.
being 15 and around older people and in that party environment, seeing people doing some of the drugs that I saw, I did not partake in that. I'm like, you're a
Right.
fucking idiot. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I think that that's one of the biggest things, like, I like, there's 2 types of parents out there, you know? Like, there are parents who are, like, not going to tell their kids what they did,
Yeah.
and they're gonna just act like, "No, we were perfect, we were great, like, don't ever do these things because 'cause they're bad." And then there's other parents who are gonna be like, no, I totally did that," or, "I saw somebody do it, and this is why you're not gonna do it because I
Right.
was there."
Right.
And, like, I have every intention of, like, telling my child, like,
Oh yeah,
everything
I'm
that I
gonna tell
did,
my child
what we saw.
100%.
Yeah, and, like,
And
cause
I'm gonna trust them to make the smart decisions like my mother told me.
yes, and to always call, like, and
Yes,
if you
and
don't call me, call Aunt Candy,
yeah, and
like,
it was always like I could call my aunt or my mom to it could be 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, hey, I'm uncomfortable. I've been
yeah, like, I
drinking.
need you
I
to
don't
come
have
and
a
get
ride
me.
home. Can you come get me? And without a doubt, my mother or my aunt was there to get me.
Yeah, even some of my friends that would, like, call my mom, and, like, my mom would go and get them. You
Yeah.
know, like, cause I mean, you just have to have those people. But, yeah, so, just like I said, just I wanted to stop there and just, like, remind you guys about the fact that this girl is 15. I can't even call her a woman at this point because she is a teenager. So she's 15 years old, and she had been visiting her grandfather in Berkeley, California. She, of course, had hitchhiked there and had simply planned to hitchhike back. It's the 70s. Everyone
Right.
was hitchhiking, troubled teen or not. So it was just, it was just what you did. She was hanging out with a couple of other hitchhikers. She didn't know these people, but they were all just kind of there catching rides together. And this is when a trash human by the name of Lawrence Singleton pulls up in a blue van. He also went by Larry. And Mary describes him as like looking like a friendly grandfather type, and he was in overalls. So like nothing was like really like he didn't appear threatening to her.
Hmm.
And like it wasn't like setting off like those alarm bells in her head. Um, he was 51 at the time and was a former merchant marine. He was freshly divorced from his second wife and had a teenage daughter who was also 15.
Okay.
Hmm. He explained that he only had room in his van for one of them, which should have
It's a
raised,
van.
so yeah, it's you should have raised some flags because some red flags because he was in a work van and there were only two other people with her, at the time. So, the others definitely felt some type of way about this though and thought that was really weird, and they actually encouraged her not to go with him, but Mary was exhausted and was like I really need to get going, like I have a long ways to go. She was trying to get to LA, back to Las Vegas. And so, she had a long way to go and she accepted the ride. He started telling her about his daughter, and this, of course, makes Mary even more comfortable.
Of
Like, it
course.
solidifies, like, he's just like this friendly old guy. He tells her that he wasn't planning on going to Los Angeles, but he would be happy to, like, take a detour to, like, get her there. Um, so the majority of this trip was pretty quiet and uneventful. She did say at one point that she had sneezed and he like instantly like reached over and like felt her neck, like her glands, and like asked if she was sick. And this like made her really uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, that would make me
Like, don't
uncomfortable.
touch me.
Some random man like grabbing my throat, like, "Are you sick?"
Yeah, yeah.
Like, get the fuck off me.
Right, yeah, and so this made her really uncomfortable, but she said like at this point like nothing else had really happened and she eventually falls asleep.
Okay.
When she wakes up, she immediately realizes that they are no longer headed to LA and they were actually traveling east instead.
I don't think
She
I would have been able to fall asleep.
I don't think I would either, but I will say that like the way that we look at hitchhiking is like totally different
Oh yeah.
than the way that they did. And I mean, like I said, it was, the 70s. And so this was like very, very normal for them. Um, she kind of starts to panic obviously at this point, and she looks down in the floorboard and finds like a yardstick, and she kind of like brandishes it as like a weapon and like kind of points it at him, and she's like, what the fuck, like why aren't we going the way that you said, like you're supposed to be taking me to LA, what's going on? And he is like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, like I must have missed a turn or something. And like he says, quote, I'm an honest man and it was an honest mistake. And like I said, he just wasn't paying attention. And so he says they're going to pull over so he can pee, and then he's going to get them back on track.
Hmm.
Like, no problem. So he gets out of the car and goes off to pee. And she also gets out of the car at this point to like stretch her legs. And she realizes that her shoe is untied. And when she bends down to tie it, this is when Larry sneaks up behind her and hits her in the head with a fucking hammer.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I have a huge problem with heads and hammers.
It's just gross.
Well, I just like just the idea of something so solid and metal, like coming in contact with somebody's freaking skull. Like
Yeah,
it just
that's
sends, yeah, it just sends shivers down my freaking back. Like I can't handle it. So she is out cold
mm-hmm.
at this point. And when she wakes up, she is naked and tied up. He rapes her at this location
Oh
and then puts her in the back of the van and then drives somewhere else and rapes her several more times at this new location. He then makes her drink some weird liquid from a jug that she assumes is some kind of alcohol, but it makes her pass out. This time when she wakes up, he makes her get out of the van, lay down on the side of the road, and of course she thinks this is the end. So she and like he's gonna kill her. So she starts like begging for him to like just let her go free.
my. Right.
This trash human says to her, quote, "Oh, you want to go free? I'll set you free," unquote. And he takes a freaking hatchet and chops off her right arm
No, he does not.
while she is fighting and screaming.
That makes me want to throw up.
He then starts chopping away at her left arm, and after 3 swings, he chops off her left arm right under the elbow.
Oh my God.
She is fully conscious. She remembers everything. She is awake.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So at this point she falls down because he was like holding her up like
Yeah.
while he was like doing this, and so like she falls down and she sees him struggling against something, and like as her vision like focuses on what she's seeing, she says that she sees him like trying to get her arm off of him because like she had apparently grabbed his arm while he was like chopping her arm. Yeah,
And so it had
and it
stayed.
was still grasped on his arm and he was like trying to like get her severed arm off of his body. Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. Um he then rolls her down a 30-foot embankment and leaves her there to die and says, "Okay, now you're free." And leaves her there.
And her, I'm assuming her arms too.
I don't know what happened to her severed arms necessarily, but yeah, so this poor teenager, she's 15. She is naked. She is dismembered. She's been bashed in the head with a hammer and raped multiple times. She's now been left for dead by her attacker. Just like take a moment to like take in like the hopelessness and despair that like you probably like that she's feeling at this point,
And
you
you
know?
have to be, I mean, not, you have to be bleeding profusely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's losing blood. She's probably very disoriented. She
Yeah.
doesn't know where she's at either. Like
Right.
she's
Because
not on the
just add
path.
to it.
Yeah, she's not on the path to like where she was originally supposed to be going. So she doesn't know exactly where she's at. And like I mean she's also drank this alcohol or
Mhm.
this liquid that's probably made her very disoriented as well. So like my point is like you can't say you're tired ever again.
No,
Like
no.
you can't. No. So like I said, just take in the moment like of what she's like feeling right now, just the hopelessness and the despair that she's feeling. But not our Mary. Our Mary is a freaking badass. Okay? She says to herself at this point while she's like laying, she's like I could lay here and die or I could get up and stop him from doing this to somebody else.
Hmm.
That is what's on her mind at this moment. Like after everything she just went through, she has every other woman in her mind at this point. Every mother, every wife, every sister, every daughter. And like her main goal is to like keep him from doing this to another woman. And she fucking gets up.
Badass.
Okay? So her first thought is that she has to stay awake. Like
Yeah.
she can't pass out. Like she wants to pass out,
Of
obviously. She's
course.
exhausted and she's losing blood. Like she's, like I mean everything in her body is telling her to like to go to sleep. And she says like if I pass out, I'm going to bleed to death. And like I said, she's obviously exhausted. She said that she felt some kind of presence with her though that like was like telling her like stay awake, get the fuck up. Like she remembers everything also that just happened to her. Like, she doesn't have any memory loss from like the head wound, like nothing. Like she was conscious while this man chopped her arms off and then rolled her down this embankment. And she said like she hears this voice telling her to like get up or somebody else is going to die. And so she freaking gets up. And I like literally have chills and goosebumps right now. Okay, so she ends up losing 50% of her body's blood.
Oh my lord.
Yeah. And to stop the bleeding, she like packs mud from the hill
Okay.
into her wounds. She does this without arms.
So she probably is just
Like
like,
she's literally, yeah, like just trying to move her body into this mud to like pack it in. And
mhm.
I don't even know, like I wouldn't even comprehend any of that at this
No,
point. Like,
no, I would have been afraid of like bacteria, like infection, like
yeah, yeah, so she packs her wounds with mud from the hillside. And like I said, I don't even understand like how she would comprehend how to do that. I mean, she does this without arms. She then fights to get up this 30-foot hill. It took her hours. 'Cause
right. She has no arms.
she has no arms to like help her like climb up this hill. She's
Balance
disoriented.
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. It literally took her all day. She said that she can like hear cars
Hmm.
up like on the freeway. And she was like, it took her all day to like reach the top. And then she ends up having to walk another 3 miles
Before anybody got her.
before there was another car.
What the heck?
Yeah. So this woman packs her wounds with mud to stop the bleeding, walks up, climbs up
The
a
30 foot.
30-foot hill, and then walks 3 miles with a
Holy.
head wound after being raped. Naked, too. She's naked. So the first car is that passes by her is a convertible, and there are two men in this car, and they kind of like start to pull over, right? When they see her, and then as soon as they take her in, like
Mhm.
they speed off. And this woman, this saint of a woman, she's like, I can't blame them. She's like, I looked like something out of a horror movie. She was like, I can't. She's not even mad at these guys
Right.
for leaving her there because like she's like, I don't know if I would have picked me up. Like my arms were chopped off. I'm covered in mud. I'm bleeding
I'm
profusely.
naked.
I'm naked. Like why would, she's like, I don't blame them at all for not stopping and helping. Which is just like I said, the saint of a woman. So finally another car comes by, and these people are actually like on their honeymoon, and they had taken like a wrong turn. Like what a
Right.
hell of a wrong turn. And they come across her and they stop and they like wrap her in whatever they have.
Hmm.
And it's the 70s, so they have no cell phones. So they drive to like an airport that's nearby to call 911.
Yeah.
They airlifted her by helicopter to the hospital, and all she can like muster up like to say is that he raped me like just over and over and over again at the hospital. You would think like your ordeal's over, like you're being saved, like these people are gonna help you.
Hmm.
I can finally rest. Not our Mary. Not our freaking Mary, because again, our Mary's a freaking badass. She tells the police to like get somebody down there like a sketch artist.
Oh,
And
heck
then she
yeah.
spends the next several hours, does not go to sleep, does not
Mhm.
take a break. Like immediately as soon as she gets the help that she needs at the hospital, she's like, I need you to send a sketch artist in. She works with the sketch artist immediately and gives such a vivid description of Lawrence freaking Singleton that this looks like a freaking photograph.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And again, like I said, she was conscious through the whole thing. So I'm going to show you the sketch. So that's Larry.
I would not have gotten in the car with that man.
That's the sketch.
Holy cow.
Yeah. She spends
That's crazy.
hours working with the sketch artist to like give them this vivid description.
That's crazy.
It's nuts. Yeah. All and like I said, she never took a rest afterwards. This is Mary.
Oh, she's really pretty.
Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so this sketch is immediately released to the public, and freaking Larry's neighbor, who was like actually friends with him, like sees it, and immediate was like, "Oh, yep, that's Larry," and calls the police, and gives yeah. So they pick him up, and in 1979 he goes to court. Now Larry claims to have been drunk on this night and refers to Mary, to 15-year-old Mary, as a $10 whore. Yeah. He also claims that the other two hitchhikers that she was with that night actually were in the van too. And
But there was only room for one.
there was only room for one. But he also says that that one of the other hitchhikers' name was Larry. So they must have him mixed up
Mm-hmm.
with the other Larry. Like, I'm sorry, you're such a dumbass. Like, what a bullshit story. Mary testifies against him. When asked if she can identify her attacker, the woman stands up on the witness stand and points directly at him and meets eye to eye and says that's him.
Good.
Yep.
Good for her.
Yep. To this day, she will not use his name.
Yeah.
Like, she only refers to him as her attacker.
I
Because he
can't
doesn't
blame her.
deserve it
No, he doesn't deserve.
to be called by name. Like, ugh.
No.
So after her testimony, she's like walking out of the courtroom. She has to pass by like the bench that he's sitting at with his lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
and he fucking whispers to her, quote, "I'll finish this job if it takes me the rest of my life," unquote. And of course, this scares the shit out of her.
Right.
And she like runs out of the courtroom,
I feel
terrified.
like that right there should have been like, I'm gonna stab you in the face.
Yeah. So Larry was in fact convicted of all kinds of shit, because what he did to her.
Right.
I mean, just all sorts of shit. And this is including attempted murder. Okay?
Yeah.
He gets the max sentence, which at the time was 14 years.
That's it.
That's the max.
That's it.
That is it. I'm about to piss you off even more. He serves 8.
No, he fucking doesn't.
He serves 8
I need to
years
wash my mouth.
and gets out for good behavior.
Good behavior, my ass. Oh, so you had good behavior in jail, but you had good behavior because you chopped off her arms and raped her, and you're a piece of
Drugged
shit.
her. Yeah. Yep. He gets out of prison and instantly tries to sue Mary. Yeah.
For what?
Well, he claims that she started the whole thing and forced him to be violent with her.
Oh, did she hold a gun to your head and said, "Hey, chop my limbs off"?
He claims that the yardstick that she like used to like threaten him was like what started everything. Like that he said that she brandished a stick at me and caused him to be violent. The
Oh,
court
okay. So
dismisses this instantly.
that caused you to rape her and
Yeah.
drug her and
Yeah.
throw her down a 30-foot
And
fucking
to cut off
hill.
her fucking arms. Yeah. Yeah. So the court throws this out
Mm-hmm.
instantly, doesn't even entertain it. And they dismiss it. Now, during this whole time that he's in jail, unfortunately, Mary is not coping with shit very well. Like, it's been really rough on her. She's very depressed. She's already been like distanced from her family,
Yeah.
who did come and get her after the court trial and stuff like that. But they just like, she said that they couldn't help her the way that she needed to help.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they were already not a very close knit family.
Right.
So, unfortunately, I mean, she just ended up like being very depressed. She ended up moving around a lot because she was too scared to stay in one place for too long.
When I could get that, I mean, he sits here and tells you when you're leaving the courtroom that he's going to come back for you.
Hmm.
That would have me scared for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And then like she actually like her relationships suffered, from this. She can't like hold down friends and like she can't meet,
Right.
she doesn't like have like a man in her life. And she ends up actually living in an abandoned gas station at one point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She does end up having 2 sons, and she says that the day I became a mother was the day I finally had something big to live for. She says that they saved her life.
That's so sad. Okay, she saved her own life.
She did, yeah, and to live that lifestyle after she accomplished everything that she did and, like, got
That's
through that
awful.
and survived.
It's sad
Yeah,
that you were so tough and you did this to survive and make sure nobody else was going to get hurt,
hurt.
and you still went through the depression and everything until you had children.
Yeah. Larry's release did not go over well with anyone. Not just Mary, but his own freaking daughter came out and said that he was abusive to her and her mother, that she was actually surprised that she hadn't been born with complications due to the abuse at the hands of Larry during her mother's pregnancy with her.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she whenever she learned of Larry's release, like she actually ended up going into hiding as well. Like she left and like went into hiding.
Okay, if your own daughter is going into hiding, you need to go
Yeah.
back in jail.
Yeah. So, his daughter actually is now an advocate for and runs like a website for other family members of criminals.
Okay.
And so like she shares her story of like having a father who did this and like has found comfort and like a home with other people who have criminal
People in their
people
family.
in their family. Um and so yeah, she runs a website and is a huge advocate for that as well. She went to the police to try and get him to like stay in there longer. She was like, "What can we do to like keep him in prison?" And they were pretty much like, "Nothing. There's nothing that we can do." And then they told like she went into hiding. She also changed her name,
Mm-hmm.
and the police said, "Well, the best thing that we can tell you to do is get a restraining order."
Because those work so well.
Because those work so well. But not only like you have to be served with a restraining order,
Right.
which provides them your location because you can't go in. You They have to provide you the location that you can't go
Yeah.
to. You know, like you like they can't just say like, "Oh, stay away from this person" if they don't tell you where that person lives.
Right.
So she's like, after everything that I've went through, after I went through hiding, you're telling me that I need to get a restraining order, which would provide him my new name and my location,
Right.
and then like, "Oh, like you can't come within 300 feet of me." Like, really?
That, yeah, that's
That's your fucking solution? When he gets paroled, okay, he's in California.
mm-hmm.
Californian communities across the state provide petition after petition saying that he can't fucking live here.
Good. Good.
Yeah. So he ends up he is forced to live in a mobile home on the grounds of St. Quentin's prison until the end of his parole in 1988 because nobody will let him like move in to the area.
Well, you shouldn't have done what you did.
Yeah. So also he has to register as like a felon, obviously,
Yeah.
everywhere he goes. And so his whole family, he's actually from Florida and his whole family's from Florida and still lives there. So he moves in with his brother in Florida. And his like that's where, like I said, that's where he was originally from. But the neighbors, like once they find out that he's there, like his brother's house becomes a target. Somebody even threw a firebomb at his house.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so his brother's like, "Yeah, you can't stay here
Well, no, I wouldn't have let you stay there in the first place.
anymore." Protesters would like show up and like, protest like his living there. So yeah, his brother kicks him out. At this point he moves to Tampa and kind of befriends his neighbors. Like there's this weird relationship with his neighbors that he has. Like he like cooked steaks and like would invite them over, and like he had a dog, and like he would fix like his neighbors, like he was a handyman like around the area. You know what I'm saying? So like
Hmm.
his neighbors were like, "Well, we're really upset that something happened, but we like how do you ever expect to let somebody like move on?" Like they were like defending him.
No,
I don't think they quite understood
the
the
degree.
degree of what actually happened. Yeah. Because he actually attempted suicide at one point by breathing in the exhaust from his car, and the neighbors saved him.
No, should have let him die.
That's what I said. But yeah, so they like the people were just very forgiving. And they started to believe him when he said that he was like framed.
Oh, baloney.
Yeah. So unfortunately, he was living, kind of this good life. until February of 1997.
What did he do?
Police received a call that Larry was raping and killing a woman in her home, like actively. Like a neighbor saw it through the window and he was like stabbing her and like just going crazy. Her name was Roxanne Hayes. She was a 31-year-old sex worker and a mother of three. And when the police finally arrive, Larry answers the door butt naked, covered in blood, and Roxanne is dead.
See, you shouldn't have let him out. And because you let him out, another person died at his hands.
Which is such a slap in the face because that was the one thing that Mary didn't want.
Right.
That is what got her out of the situation that she was in, was hoping that she could save somebody else. They did, however, fly Mary down for his trial to help identify him. And she testifies against him again. And this time he is convicted of murder and sentenced to death. Unfortunately, though, he does die on death row at the age of 74 from cancer. Boo freaking
I don't
who.
feel bad for you. You shouldn't have been let out in the first place.
Yeah. Mary, on the other hand, is now thriving and like living her best freaking life.
Oh, good.
Yeah, dude. She is like, okay, so she was fitted for prosthetic arms 2 weeks after her attack.
Uh-huh.
She has actually made different attachments for her arms out of old refrigerator parts. She
Oh,
says
that's
that she
cool.
likes to tinker.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so she says, so many things, and this is like quote, so many things are discarded, and if you work with them enough, you can come up with something new and beautiful.
Oh,
She's a freaking artist.
that's beautiful.
She works with chalk, pastel chalk, and like the main thing that she likes to draw, and she could not draw before this. She says she couldn't even draw a straight line before this. So she became an artist with no arms,
That's pretty badass.
right? And then like made like to create like made different attachments for her prosthetic arms to like make sure that she could do what she needed to do. So she works with chalk and she says like the main focus is powerful, upbeat women.
Oh,
So she
that's
draws
beautiful.
women that she finds powerful and beautiful like in her art now.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
She should draw herself.
right? She attended the University of Nevada and currently lives in Washington with her husband, Tony. She says that she has now entered the third phase of all of this. She says, first, I was a victim, then I was a survivor, and now I'm an artist.
That is so fantastic.
Chills. Absolute
That is
chills.
awesome.
And that is the story of Mary Vincent.
That is great. I love that.
Yes, I know. I was so excited to like break. Like I was literally finishing up my notes whenever Candy got here today, and I was like, oh, I can't even like wait to tell you the story. So yeah, absolute badass woman. We will post. I'm gonna try to find some of her art as well to post.
Yes, that would be really
Yeah,
cool.
with on the Instagram, but super freaking crazy story. Like really
She's really
awesome woman.
badass.
Yeah, and you can actually find her. She tells her own story as well on an episode of I Survived.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
so definitely go and check that out. It's
I
a
will
really great
definitely have to.
episode. But yeah, she's just like a really cool person and she's just a beautiful like she's very like whimsical, kind of like hippie, like girl, like she's just such an amazing person and I could like I could hear her story over and over and over again. It
She
just gives me
she's
straight chills.
she is very badass.
Yes. So I love to be able to bring you guys some survivor tales. You guys know that I love it and I love like an upbeat story that we can end on a happy note.
Yes, yes.
So, yay. Well, we've definitely got some fun things coming for you guys today. I don't know if we've talked about it. We have new merch.
Yes, yes,
Have
we
we talked
do.
about it? We have new merch. So we did a whole revamp of like our logo
Mhm.
and like stuff like that. Like it's not too different, but we just kind of like we just we just kind of like gave it a little bit of a
Upgraded.
makeover. Yeah, we just upgraded it a little bit. But with the new logos and stuff like that, we wanted to also introduce some new like updated merch as well. So we've
Go
got
check it
some
out.
fun new stuff on our merch store. So definitely go and check that out. And Yeah, so like I said, if you haven't signed up for our Patreon yet, definitely go and check that out as well. It is only $1 a month. And hopefully we'll be bringing you a little bit more of like stuff on that too. We don't really know what all of that looks like. We literally just got it started and it took us forever to get it
Yes,
started,
yes,
but
it did.
now that we're kind of in it, we are hoping to kind of continue on like growing in that platform as well. So, but we're just super excited to have you guys with us along for the ride, and we hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we will talk to you guys in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye. You can join our freaky family at sipsofcrime.com,
where you can sign up for our monthly slumber party Patreon and follow us on social media.
Thanks for listening. Stay
Stay
alive.
alive.